My name is Chelsea Kelly. I'm the manager of digital learning here in the education department. And I also teach our teen programs, which is an absolute privilege. This summer, we had 16 summer intern teens at the museum, and you'll hear a bit more about the program and the projects that we did from the teens themselves. But we have some of them here today to have a dialogue with all of you about tours and teenagers. I have been so inspired by these young people, and I know that you will be too. They are our current and future visitors, our future staff, our future museum supporters, and please join me in welcoming the teens of the summer internship program.
Well, before we start, how is everybody doing? Good. Well, before we introduce ourselves, we would like to start with a check-in. And a check-in is an activity where you guys get to know each other. If you guys don't know each other, if you guys do, to get to know each other a little bit more. It's kind of a way to bring out, to communicate better and make the environment more easy and, not so stressful. So I would like you guys for 2 minutes, if you guys could talk to the person next to you and talk about what would you be if you were an art tool, what would you be? So for 2 minutes, you guys can discuss that. Well, for those who didn't hear, I'm sorry. If the question is, if you were an art tool, what would you be?
All right, we're gonna bring it back together now. Okay, so I hope this activity helped you guys understand your peers a little better. And by using this check-in activity in your tours, it establishes a relationship with the docents and the visitors, and makes the whole tour more engaging. And we're gonna start off by introducing ourselves. My name is Stephen. I'm from the International Peace Academy. And the art tool that I would be a camera to capture all the wonderful moments. And why I choose to come back to the art museum is this place is obviously a beautiful place to be at. And coming here, I get to escape from the reality of going to school. Oh my God. Coming here once a week, I get to do something for myself, which is why I come to the art museum. Which is why I'm back in this internship.
My name is Sensei. I'm homeschooled. If I was an art tool, I would be charcoal. I've done artworks in the spring, the high school internship program over the summer, and I'm in satellite right now. And I keep coming back to the museum because there's always something really fun to do.
I'm Natiana, and I go to Milwaukee High School of the Arts. If I was an art tool, I would be a sculpting tool, and I was in the high school internship here, and I am in the art satellite program. The reason why I keep coming back to the Milwaukee Art Museum is because as an artist, it's really nice to get constant references of all the different art styles that are here in studying art.
Hello, my name is Carolina, and I go to Riverside University High School. If I was an art tool, I would be a colored pencil, and I've done the Milwaukee High School internship over the summer, and right now I'm doing the satellite program. And the reason why I keep coming back to the art museum is because I love being around art and talking about it.
My name is Rose Haiti. I go to Carmen High School of Science and Technology. If I were an art tool, I would be a sketch pencil. I have done the summer internship program, and currently I'm doing the satellite program. The reason I come back to the art museum is, as Carolina said, there's a lot of art, and I like relating to art in the real world and how you can look at art and there's so many things you can take out of it. So that is the reason why I keep coming back here.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly describe what we did over the summer. A group of teens were chosen to participate in an internship where we worked on several projects relating to arts and education. And one of the projects we worked on, which we're talking about today, was the Docent project, where we talked to docents about how to engage teens in the galleries.
And I'll briefly give a description on what the project looked like. And we basically just the group of teens assembled and we talked amongst ourselves on how we would go about doing the project and what sorts of activities and we would do to engage the docents that we brought there. And what we took away from the project is on the sheet that you guys have, and we won't go over it. You guys can just quickly reference it if you want to, and then we'll go into Q&A about these if you have any suggestions and talk about these later.
So,
and we really wanted to kind of bring the two groups together so that the docents could kind of learn from the teens, but also so that we, with the teens, could learn from the docents. So it was kind of an opportunity to just kind of get to know each other and share ideas about engaging teens on tours, which is not always easy. So just to give us a little more background.
Well, something I took away from this docent project, which I really liked a lot, was because I could see the perspective of the docents and a perspective of me as a high school student. Was the fact that I didn't know what went through a docent's mind until we actually met face to face, and they got to tell me what actually you guys felt when you guys were with a high school group. And it was really interesting because I felt like I was in school, like how a teacher feels when she's around a high school group. So that's something I took out of it and made me think a lot of how we actually act when we're around a docent or a teacher. So.
The mainly thing I took out, it was definitely seeing different point of views of art and how people can relate to it.
The main thing I took out of the project was having docents explain different things that they know about the art. That's symbolisms and things that we won't know, visitors won't know when we just look at the art piece. And the docents simply just bring out things that they know about the art that we wouldn't and share information like symbols and maybe stories about the art piece and engaging things about it.
I think my biggest takeaway was that if you're enthusiastic about what you're talking about, so will the people you're talking to. So I think that's a really good thing, just to be excited to be there and talking about art with whoever you're talking to, despite age.
And the greatest takeaway that I got from the summer internship was that I realized that the docents here are basically the cherry on the ice cream for the visitor experience. And I really appreciate that the docents here take time out of their day to explain art to the community, which I think is really important.
Right now. So I would like to invite two of the docents that spent time with us over the summer to share how our ideas and suggestions have helped you on tours. So if two of you can please raise your hands.
I think what's kind of exciting there that I want to point out is that this check-in can work not just with teens but with other age groups too, which is really cool. Thank you, Susie.
Anybody else who would like to share with us? Okay, in the back.
The docent is like a painter trying to talk to you, and Yasmin was another teen in our program this summer. That kind of idea that the docent can act as almost like the painter or the artist themselves in illuminating aspects of the work of art. Great.
All right, since you guys now know a little bit about us and a little bit about the program that we did, now we're going to open up the floor to any questions you guys have. So, well, she says that the thing that we're doing right now, as in talking to you guys, is actually, she says it opens up her way of actually seeing how high school tours should be. That it shouldn't be so, but it should be something. It should be something that it opens up her eyes to a different perspective of it.
And I think it was just as important for the teens to meet the docents too, and to understand why they give tours and why they do it. Yeah.
It was a really good experience. Because to add on what she said, because we got to see how you guys thought. And we got to give you guys feedback, and also you guys gave us feedback as well. So I kind of felt that this was a really good experience, and it still is. So, well, her question was that what would we do in a situation where the high school students are not interested at all, and like what would we do about that?
Well,
Or, yeah.
I would like to say that just be yourselves and try to do maybe like behind our history of the painting. So say any interesting facts about the painting. I think us as teens, we like to really explore what's behind it, any secrets.
It might also be a good idea to, if you have to, switch gears and see what they want to see from the tour as well.
I was also going to say that.
Well, her next question was, what are we really thinking when we're in the tour, when we're bored?
Well, I was going to say that I think some teens are thinking about like what other things that they can do and like outside the art museum, but like you could just like, I think what docents should do is like try to, like since they said switch gears and move away to a different section, because teens, they're interested in something and they're here for a reason. I don't know if it's for the school thing, but you can find anything, just something to interest something to interest them. Just like maybe we were talking over the program thing about having themes, and like maybe you could do a theme and when you're on your tours, like per se the romance theme. And there's a lot of teens that are interested in romance, and you can go throughout the art museum showing pictures that have maybe romantic stories or romantic symbols inside of them, or maybe a horror theme, and like go to parts of the art museum that have gore stuff in it, just like really tragic stories or something scary inside the art, things like that.
Adding to what Natiana said, it's with your question, I know that there's a lot of teens that might not like art at all or might not be at all interested and might just be here because it's a school field trip and I get to be out of school. I think a really good thing to start with, like we said, was the check-in, because it also like brings their minds together with like the whole group, as in like the themes is a really good idea, as in, okay, today we're going to explore like the romance or the war. Like, what do you guys think about it? Talk to your partner. And to actually open up their minds and be like, oh, this is cool. Maybe it's not all about art, or art has something I like. Because I have the perspective that art is everywhere and everything is made up of art. So you can take something out of it. And that's what I feel like you should bring that attention, that there's themes, or let's do a check-in to get everybody and make this environment a lot better. So that's another thing to add on what she said. And in the back, she said that she goes to the surrealism, where instead of the modern art, where she talks about dreams and she tells them some of her dreams that she has had, and then she invites them to tell her some of her dreams, and she says it kind of loosens them up and invites them to this better environment. So.
I think that's a great idea to incorporate storytelling into your tour and incorporate a personal experience. It can help the connection between teens and youth. Exactly.
I think teens really do respond well to when the docents are very relaxed and jolly and friendly.
Yeah.
And instead of having like maybe a stern more kind of like image or something like that, they just could want to connect to you a little bit better. That way you were happy.
I also think that the enthusiasm from the docents really influenced the whole experience of the tour. With a good attitude and a positive attitude, even though the teens may not enjoy the whole tour, it's still trying to have a positive attitude is, I think, better than not. Yeah.
Back there. Her question was if girls are more interested in art instead of males. And real quick, something I have to add on, what I want to answer to that is, I believe that yes, girls are more emotional, so we have this this feel for art because we can relate to it, and we're just emotional, so we can relate to art. And I feel that for a guy, you have to find a way how to get them interested, because I feel like they're macho and they don't want to like break down to any, you know, emotional like feelings. And one of the questions that got brought up in the docent group was, if we separate the groups, would it be better? And I kind of disagreed with that, because I feel like to have them together, they get to see what a girl has to say and maybe add on to it. So I feel like a guy is interested in art because art is just beautiful, and just they have this hard like wall in front of them, and they just don't want to like be emotional. But I guess it varies with the person too.
I also think that everybody, male or female, they have some, I don't know, interest in art. It's just that I believe females are able to express it and are able to show that they like art rather than a male. And it was true in this satellite internship. There was only 4 males, and there was only 3 males in the one in the summer. So I believe that I believe that males they do enjoy art, but I don't think that they're able enough to like express it, because I think they're too manly. But I'm able to, you know. Like,
I think it's fairly equal. I think men and women have interest in art. I think all people have an interest in art, and I think it's just trying to encourage everyone, despite age and gender, to talk about art. Yeah.
Back there, the man, back there.
I am going to let you guys answer what technology we used over the summer. Is that okay? Yeah, you guys go for it.
Well, I know Chelsea used an iPad over the summer just to show us pictures, show us what we were studying, other portraits by the same artist in certain cases.
Also, during our internship, we were using Skype with a New York Teen Museum, the Teen Summit Museum group in New York. And we were Skyping with them and getting their opinions on museums and teen involvement in museums and why it's important. And I think that's really important with using technology as in museums, because you're able to access knowledge quickly and different, like Skype with people from all the way across like the United States and get their opinions on museums and see what they're doing in their museums that could possibly help our museum out. Or something like that. And you know, in New York they have like 10 art museums, so it's like really engaging in conversation. We're taking out a lot from them.
Well, adding on to the Sensei said about the iPad and the iPod, one thing that we did was when we did object studies, which we looked at the art and we talked about it, she would look up the history of the art and show us a picture that kind of resembled it, like how the artist changed the way he did it. And that was another use of technology, which I really liked it, because I got to see another piece of his art, you know, while I'm looking at this one. So that was another use of that.
And maybe before I have you guys answer the second question about how you guys think technology can and should or shouldn't be used at a museum, it might be helpful to, now that you kind of know what I did, maybe part of your question was maybe a bit about my teaching goals for using technology. And Amy and I were actually just talking about this. So when I used technology, I used it really as a tool and not kind of as the end-all, be-all. So when I used the iPad, or I showed images, I chose them because I chose using an iPad because it's a better reproduction than if I showed a book. But I think I did show you guys some books too, right? So yeah, kind of for me, it's a tool as of now. And then the Skype was also a really important tool because it was something that we absolutely couldn't have done without technology. So I hope does that answer your question? Okay, great. So technology in museums. What should it look like? Can it look like?
Well, Technology in museums. I think we discussed of actually having a type of monitor in front of the art where people could actually scroll and look into it, because you're adding the technology into the museum. I really like, but this is my own opinion, I really like the old-fashioned where it's the artwork and you're just there and you discuss it, because like they say, art is worth 1,000 words, and you could just look at it and take out so much of it. And I think that adding the technology takes away from that. But then again, there's a lot of teenagers that like the technology use with art, because then it kind of reflects to the real world and the artwork. So I guess that's my opinion of me liking it the old way, where you look at it and you really discuss about it. So.
And to add on to that, there are pros and cons with using technology, like how Rosadie said that the experience of talking with the docents through the tours about the artwork, it's much more, I don't know, it's much more beautiful, I guess you can say, rather than just reading a screen. But the pros about it is that maybe it will attract more teens, because as of now, teens were so exposed to the new age of modern technology. It might be a pro to have some technology in the museums for the future.
And I might add too, it's important to remember that not all teens have the same access to technology, just like not all adults or younger children have the same kind of access to technology. So some of us might have smartphones, some of us might have an iPad, some of us might not even have a cell phone. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind too, I think, when we're thinking about how to use technology in museums and keeping it accessible as well as useful.
Her question was, how do you get a teen to to talk about the artwork?
I was gonna say that the more engaging you are in the conversation, like maybe you can. Oh no, okay, here it is. Maybe you could like single them out, or talk like when you're in your check-ins and you're giving introductions, you could ask people what are their interests. Like maybe instead of the what favorite art tool what art tool would you be, you could probably say what are you interested in, and then like the teens will reply to you things that they're interested in, and then maybe you could incorporate that in your tour, and you could single teens out by, if you remember what their interests are, and that would be like a jolt in their attention. They're like, oh, she's talking about my interests, or he's talking about my interests, and they'll probably want to engage in the conversation then, or something like that.
I think this is on the handout that I think you guys have, but it's a good idea to have sometimes a worksheet to be able to fill out, so that you don't necessarily have to talk. You can write and then share with other people anonymously, perhaps. And it includes everybody, but also if you're a little bit more quiet, it can help, take the attention off of you.
I think it also goes with the interest. So, like, if you're not interested in something, I don't see, you might not be so engaged into what they're talking about. So that's why I agree with like Natiana, as in, with the check-in, see what they're interested in, and what they're interested in, you go by that, and there will be more like maybe engagement into it, because how she was saying, oh look, they're talking about something I'm interested in. So I feel like it depends on their interest and what they're interested in, or if they're interested in what you guys are discussing, I don't know, find a way how you can take the art and maybe ask, what do you guys like about this art piece, to see what they feel about it, or do you guys like the art piece? Ask questions where you get an answer, and then maybe move on, like they said before, move on to something else. So
I also think that teens believe that, I think most teens believe that going on tours with the docents, the docents are so smart and educated about the artwork, and if the teens were to say something, they might be intimidated. They don't know what to say because there was someone so educated about the art pieces. And I think that by being genuine, and also by keeping things simple and short, will allow the intimidation to go down a couple of levels. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Yeah, because I remember We actually took a tour a couple weeks ago with Barbara Brownlee. I just love Barbara. She says the funniest things ever. And I remember we were going down, we were taking a tour, and she was explaining the history behind the artworks. And half of what she said kind of went over my head. It was like they were talking about art, famous artists, and what kind of materials they use, and really fancy vocabulary, which was really intimidating for someone like me who was not very familiar with these artists. So I think keeping it short and simple is the most effective way to have that, to appeal to the audience.
Like in your handouts, I don't know if you guys read it, but one of the things that we thought when we were in groups was, it says, be yourself, think of the teens as your children or grandchildren. No need to try to be hip. Don't be afraid to be goofy or silly. So like to be and try to interact with us, you know, treat us like if you were treating your grandchildren, as in, you know, don't be afraid to be fun and silly and goofy, you know, because we like that. We like when a person can come to, not to our level, but actually interact with us and with art. You know, it makes everything so much more fun and the environment so much more brighter and, you know, awesome.
And I was going to add one more thing, but like, with like, even though if when you're doing these tour things, you're gonna like try and get the teens' interest, don't forget to add your own interest. Like, I don't want you guys to just go off and then do a tour based off what everyone else wants, and then not bring your own little flavor in there, and then have the tour like how you want it to be, like have it unique to the way that you want it to. Also share your interests and then get feedback from the teens on what you like, and then maybe connect on that level too.
So following what Tatiana said, be very open-minded to choose any artworks that might be like none of your interest. So.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to call out too, and kind of the those like on the ground practical, like what you can do on a tour, that the teens actually had you guys do a really great technique for their check-in, which was pair share. And that's kind of another nice thing if the group is feeling shy or intimidated, because it can not only be scary to talk to a docent, but also to share those ideas in front of your class. I think too we talked a bit about that. So that pair share can also be a nice thing to do to kind of give folks a chance to talk, but maybe they wouldn't have the pressure of sharing it with everybody, just with one other person.
Did you have a question in the gray sweater? His question is that his concern was that students don't like to be wrong. Yeah.
Maybe offering like a couple different choices, like, you know, multiple choice question type of thing, to give them an idea of what an answer could look like. Yeah.
I mean, adding to the concern that you had, I mean, not gonna hide it. I mean, it's yeah, I don't like being wrong sometimes, and it's kind of a way where, like, I think we just have a pride and we don't want to break it down. I guess it's to what Ms. Sensei said, look at different opportunities, look at it a different way, to maybe like try to, let's look at it this way, or let's look at it that way, or maybe ask them why they think that, as to bring to consideration that, you could be right, and why do you think that, so they can feel that their voice is actually being heard. Maybe it's not the whole fact that, oh, I'm right, you're wrong, but at least can you hear me out? So, just to see what they have to say about it. She says that when she looks at an art piece, she tells them, after she explains, she tells them, you can't be right and you can't be wrong because it is what it is to you, so it's your opinion. So her question was, why did we come into this program? Well, I came into this program because I love art, and I feel that art is a big part of my life, as in it is everywhere I go. Everything's created of art, and that's the way I look at it, and that this world was created beautifully, and I can take so much things out of it, and I can make a story out of everything. So like I feel like art is a big part of the reason why. And when they came up with this opportunity, I've never seen one like this before, and I thank Chelsea for actually making one like this, because it's a time where I can be myself and actually be around art the most I can. And I love coming to the art museum, and I could never come with the chance because we don't have the time, but now I had the time to come, and I could be here 3 times a week in the summer and now 1 time a week every week, and it feels great. And it's just me where I could come and express myself through art. So
the reason why I came to this program was because at my school, it's a really small high school. We don't have a lot of art opportunities to like share art, and I remember I only took 1 class for my whole high school career, and so I wasn't able to exercise my art abilities and talk about art more. And so I think this program is a wonderful place for students who don't have the opportunity at their schools or any other places to come and talk about art, and I'm so grateful that we have this program.
And it's great too because you get to be with like 15 other people your same age that love the same things as you, and you get to talk to them about it, and it's a really good environment to be in once a week, that consistent, ability to be able to talk to people about art that are your same age. Yeah.
So definitely what Sensei said, that we can get different point of views from different teenagers that love the same thing as we do.
And for me, I like these programs, and I'm in this program because, like I said before, I go to an art school and I do a lot of art, and I was recommended for the internships from my art teacher, and I was just like, oh, this is right up my alley. Why not be in like programs that will like further my engagement in art and my knowledge in art. Well, fun.
her question was, what should she do if someone in her group is shy, if she should call on the person, or if she should just leave them, as they are, quiet?
Maybe it kind of depends. Being called on isn't always very fun, but it can break that like tentativeness to talk. Yeah, break the ice. And maybe start with like an easier question, or maybe an opinion question instead of fact. Yeah.
But then also calling on a person may just startle them, like, oh my gosh, what do I say now? Or they don't want to make a fool of themselves. So I guess I had an idea that we had to, for those people that are really shy, to maybe have a moment where they sit down and reflect on what you were saying. And they hand in you the papers where you can read out, oh, well, this person thought this person thought that. What do you guys think of it? And maybe make an open discussion. And hopefully that person will talk because that was their idea. So maybe that's another.
Yes, you guys are going to be excited about this. Actually, you guys should announce it. Forget me. Talk about your December 20th gallery.
Oh.
Well, on December 20, we're going to have a gallery talk. It's where in the satellite group, we have picked art work from the museum, and we're going to make it our own from how we look at the art as in the modern world now. And we will be using a creative response. It could be art, it could be singing, it could be poetry, however we like to present it. And you guys are all invited to come see this gallery talk on December 20th at 5:15. 5 o'clock. Yes. We would love to see you guys all there.
I'll make sure that the docent notes have the date and the time in them.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys so much.